Yeah, hello friends. This is SR for CA. Today my agenda to deal a issue of each standard in module 3 of financial reporting and framework for preparation and presentation of financial statements also. Okay, now I'm starting. Right. First one is framework for preparation and presentation of financial statements. Okay, right. The chapter name is framework for preparation and presentation of financial statements. Okay, right. The problem is here, balance sheet of a trader on 31st March 2001 is given below. Okay, yeah, here given the balance sheet of a trader is given here. The assets, non-current assets. In non-current assets, property, plant and equipment, how much here given? 65,000. Next, current assets, inventory is 30,000. Financial assets, trade receivables 20,000. Other asset 10,000. Cash and cash equivalents 5,000. Total balance sheet value, how much? 1,30,000. Okay, right. Next, equity and liabilities. In equity and liabilities, equity share capital 60,000. Other equity, profit and loss account 25,000. Next, non-current liabilities 10% loan 35,000. Next, current liabilities, under current liabilities, financial liabilities. In financial liabilities, trade payables 10,000. Total balance sheet value 1,30,000. Okay, this is the balance sheet. Next, additional information is given for accompanying with balance sheet. What is the additional information given here? The remaining life of property, plant and equipment is 5 years. The pattern of use of the asset is even. Even means, even means first year, second year, third year, continuous period. Okay. Next, the net realizable value of property, plant and equipment on 31st March 2002 was 60,000. So here given the balance sheet of a trader on 31st March 2001 given here. Okay, but in additional information, the net realizable value of property, plant and equipment on 31st March 2002 was 60,000. This is opening balance sheet. This is accompanying with this additional information accompanying with balance sheet. Okay, right. Next, the traders purchases and sales in 2001 and 2002, that is the financial year 2001 2002, that is, and another thing, accounting year. Okay, amounted to 4 lakh. 4 lakhs is related to traders purchases, that is purchases, 4 lakh purchases, and 4,50,000 that is sales. Next, the cost and net realizable value of inventories on 31st March 2002 were 32,000, that is cost of inventory, and 40,000, that is net realizable value of inventory on 31st March 2002 related information. Next, other one, employee benefit expenses for the year amounted to how much? 14,900, that is employee benefit expenses. Next, other asset, that is other asset in financial assets, other asset is there, that is 10,000 in opening balance sheet, but that other asset is written off equally over 4 years. So equally over 4 years. Okay, next, trade receivables on 31st March 2002 is 25,000, of which 2,000 is doubtful. Okay, collection of another 4,000 depends on successful reinstallation of certain product supplied to the customer. This is also doubtful because this is depends on condition. When condition is there, yeah, collection of 4,000 is depends on condition, right? Next, cash balance on 31st March 2002 is 37,100 after deduction of interest paid on loan. Okay, that is cash balance. Next, there is an early repayment of penalty for the loan, amount 2,500, that is repayment regarding. Next, here asking the requirement. What is the requirement from this question? The profit and loss accounts and the balance sheets of the trader are shown below in 2 cases. Assuming going concern is there. Next, second case, not assuming going concern. This is the requirement. What is the requirement of this? What is the requirement of trader? Here asking the requirement is prepare profit and loss account and balance sheet considering one is assuming one is going concern Another one is not assuming going concern. So now we need to give profit and loss account and balance sheet of trader. Okay, first case assuming going concern, second case not assuming going concern. We know in going concern, so we follow all NDAs while preparing financial statements of company or a trader, whatever may be. But not assuming going concern means management intention to liquidate the company. That is so it is affected going concern assumption. So that's why we presented all items at a net realizable value. Okay, right. Now next, now while proceeding, before just I have concluded with presentation here. Regarding non-current assets, property, plant and equipment. Here given the net realizable value on 31st March 2002, 60,000 given. So we need to record property, plant and equipment at 60,000. Okay. In case going concern, the opening balance is 65,000. We need to deduct depreciation from 65,000 and net effect need to be present as a asset in case going concern. So profit and loss account, profit, plant and equipment in case of not assuming going concern need present only 60,000. Okay, the difference carrying amount, opening amount 65,000, but net release value 60,000. So remaining balance is 5,000. That is depreciation. Need to be considered as a depreciation. Next, in case assuming going concern, 65,000 by 5 years. 65,000 by 5 years. How much? 13,000. Okay. Next, here one element, depreciation and amortization expenses. Other asset given 10,000, but one condition is there. Other asset write off over equally 4 years. So 10,000 by how many years? 4 years. So every year need to be write off at 2,500. But in case assuming going concern, 2,500 only considered as amortization expense. Remaining 7,500 need to be present as a asset in current assets. But in case of not assuming going concern, we need to amortize total amount write off at 10,000. So in case the element of depreciation amortization expense, in case of assuming going concern, the amount is 15,500. In case of not assuming going concern, the amount is 5,000. Difference between 65,000 and 60,000, that is 5,000. In case amortization expense related to other asset 10,000, total 15,000 need to be present in profit and loss account. Okay. In balance sheet, the other asset need to be show in assuming 7,500 assuming going concern. Not assuming going concern, nil amount need to be presented. Same property, plant and equipment, 65,000 minus 13,000, that is depreciation. So 52,000 in balance sheet and 60,000 not assuming going concern, that is also need to be present as property, plant and equipment, 60,000. Okay. Next, the traders purchases sales here amounted to 4 lakh and 4,50,000. So this is need to be used for calculation of in profit and loss account it affected. So sales how much? 4,50,000. Going concern, assuming going concern 4,50,000, not assuming going concern, both are same. No changes happened regarding sales. In case purchases also. Okay. Here next, cost and net realizable value of inventories on 31st March 2002. Cost, we know Ind AS 2. Assuming going concern, the cost or net realizable value whichever is lower need to be valued the inventory. But in case of not assuming going concern, we need to be calculated only net realizable value. So here net realizable value 40,000. So in profit and loss account, inventory changes, change in inventory, the opening value inventory 30,000 but closing value 32,000. Assuming going concern, the change in inventory 2,000. In case not assuming going concern, the change in inventory, that is 10,000 need to be affected. Another one is here This in cost 30,000 opening, 2,000 is changes. So 2,000 is need to be assume 2,000 is a credit purchase. So our trade payables also increases. So trade payables also increases. Here trade payables 10,000 is there opening, but 2,000 is increases. So 12,000 need to be present in a balance sheet. Assuming going concern 12,000, not assuming going concern also 12,000 because here both are same. Okay. Next, employee benefit expenses for the year ended amounted to 14,000. So there no changes is there. So 14,900 is recorded as employee benefit expenses. Both assuming going concern, not assuming going concern, no affected. Next, other asset, okay, completed. Next, trade receivables on 31st March 2002 is 25,000, of which 2,000 is doubtful. So opening trade receivables 20,000 is there. Okay, 20,000 is there, but this is a balance sheet item. This is balance sheet item. Balance sheet item. So 2,000 is doubtful. So assuming going concern, only 2,000 will be considered. But in case of not assuming going concern, 4,000 extra 4,000 also need to be considered. So 6,000 is provision for doubtful debts. So provision need to be presented for trade receivables. 12,000 in 2,000 in assuming going concern, 6,000 in not assuming going concern. That is provision related. Okay. Next, cash balance on 31st March 2002 is 37,100 before deduction of interest paid on loan. Here outstanding balance of loan 35,000. So every year 10% need to be charged as interest, but on 35,000 10% 3,500. Assuming going concern 3,500 only considered, but in case not assuming going concern, here early repayment of loan he incurred penalty 2,500. So 2,500 also need to be considered. So total finance cost how much? In case not assuming going concern, only 3,500, but not assuming going concern, in that case 6,000 need to be considered. That is finance cost related. Next, trade receivables, for which amount we need to present in balance sheet. Not assuming in assuming going concern 25,000 minus 2,000, so 23,000 need to be presented. But in case of not assuming going concern, 25,000 minus 6,000, 19,000. Okay, that is the trade receivables regarding. Next, cash balance. So cash balance 37,100, 3,500 that is interest. So total amount 33,600 need to be present in balance sheet. Okay, these are need to be presented. So now I will proceed through proceeding. Here first case not assuming, first case assuming going concern. Next one is not assuming going concern. Okay, here need to be presented profit and loss account. Schedule 3 prescribe the formats of profit and loss account and balance sheet and cash flow statements and statement of changes in equity and other comprehensive income. This one also statement of changes in equity only. Revenue from sales, how much? Revenue from sales. Revenue from sales 4,50,000. Here 4,50,000. So revenue from sales. Any other income is there? No, other income is not there. Only revenue from sales is there. Next, expenses. Total revenue how much? 4,50,000. 4,50,000. Expenses. One element is purchases. So purchases how much? Here 4 lakhs. Here also 4 lakhs. So next, changes in inventory. Here inventory changes in inventory. Changes in inventory how much? 2,000 changes. That is need to be deducted. Another one is 10,000 in case of not assuming going concern. Changes in inventory completed. Next, depreciation and amortization expenses. depreciation and amortization expenses. Depreciation and amortization expense. How much depreciation amortization expenses? 15,500. Next 15,000. Okay. Next employee benefit expenses. Employee benefit expenses. How much? Here 14,900. Here also 14,900. 14,900. Next employee benefit expense. Next finance cost. How much? Finance cost 3,500. Here 6,000. Okay. Any expenditure is there? Yeah, no. Okay. This is the expenditure. Now total expenses. Total expenses. Total expenses. How much? 4 lakhs minus 4 lakhs minus 2,000 plus 15,500, 14,900, 3,500. So 4,31,900. That is total expenses need to be deducted from total revenue. How much is profit? 18,100. Okay, 18,100. Next, if we missed out one thing, we need to consider, that is provision for doubtful debts. That is 2,000 in case of assuming going concern provision, and here for 2,000 6,000. Okay, total now total expenses 4,31,900 plus 2,000, so 4,33,900. 4,33,900. So now 4,50,000 minus 4,33,900, 16,100. That is profit. Next year 4 lakhs minus 10,000 plus 15,000 plus 14,900 plus 6,000 plus 6,000. Total expenses 4,31,900 minus 4,50,000. So 18,100. This is profit. Now in not assuming going concern. This is profit and loss account. Next we need to present balance sheet. Okay. In balance sheet need to be presented in a vertical format. Okay. Yeah. First assets. First assets, non-current assets. In non-current assets, property, plant and equipment, assuming going concern, not assuming going concern. So property and plant, property, plant and equipment. How much here? 53,000. Here 60,000. So this is non-current assets. Any next current assets. Current assets, trade receivable. Current assets, under current assets need to be presented finance finance assets. Financial assets. Financial assets, trade receivables. Trade receivables, how much? Trade receivables here 25,000 minus 2,000, 23,000. Here 25,000 minus 6,000, that is 19,000. Next trade receivables, inventory. Inventory. So here closing balance 32,000. Here inventory 40,000. Okay. Next other asset. Here 7,500. Here nil. Okay. Now total assets 53,000 plus 23,000 plus 32,000, 7,500, 1,15,000, 1,15,500. So here 60,000 plus 19,000, 40,000. Here 1,19,000. Next liabilities. Okay. Next liabilities. So liabilities, yeah, here liability is share capital. So shareholders funds. Under liabilities we need to write equity and liabilities. First equity and liabilities. Under the equity and liabilities, shareholders funds. Shareholders funds. Shareholder funds, share capital. How much? 60,000, no changes. Next other equity. Other equity here 16,100 increases for opening balance. So here 25,000 already opening balance is there. So 25,000 plus 16,100. So 41,100 not assuming going concern. Next assuming going concern 18,100 plus 25,000. So 43,100. So this is the equity and liabilities. Equity and liabilities. So total liability, equity and liabilities. Next This is non-current liabilities. Under non-current liabilities, you need to write non-current liabilities. Under non-current liabilities, equity and liabilities. Next, current liabilities. So current liabilities, financial liabilities, 10% loan, 10% loan. Next, yeah, I missed out to consider that is cash balance 33,600. So for assets 1,15,000, we have 1,15,500 in assuming going concern the total assets. Now we need to add cash balance also 1,15,500 plus 33,600. So 1,49,900, 49,100. That is assets. Next, same, not going not assuming going concern. So 1,19,000 plus 33,600. So how much? 1,52,600. That is assets. Next here liabilities, share capital. So next other equity. Next now non-current liabilities, that is other 10% loan is there. That is here 35,000, 37,500 in not going not assuming going concern, 37,500 because penalty 2,500, that is also considered as increases to liability. Next, current liabilities. Under current liabilities, financial liabilities. Under financial liabilities, trade payables 12,000. So 12,000. So now total amount to 60,000 plus 41,100. Next, 35,000 plus 12,000. So total amount 1,48,100. 1,48,000. 1 minute. 1,48,100. Next, 60,000 plus 43,100 plus 37,500 plus 12,000. So 1,52,600. 60,000 plus 41,100, 35,000, 12,000. So 1,48,100 here there. Yeah, I consider in property plant and equipment 53,000. So that's why in assets 1,49,100 showing. But actually 65,000 minus depreciation 13,000. So net balance 52,000. So now assets balance 1,48,100. So liability side 1,48,100. So everything is okay. Now this is the framework for preparation and presentation of financial statements. Okay. Yeah. Next, I am going to another standard that is Ind AS 1 presentation of financial statements. Ind AS 1, the title of Ind AS 1 presentation of financial statements. Okay. Right. The problem is here. Entity XYZ is a large manufacturer of plastic goods for the local market. Okay, for the local market. On 1st April 2006, the newly elected government unexpectedly abolished all import tariffs, including the 40% tariff on all imported plastic products. Many other economic reforms implemented by the new government contributed to the value of country's currency, Indian rupee, appreciating significantly against most other currencies. The currency appreciation severely reduced the competitiveness of the entity's products. Okay. Next, before 2006, entity XYZ was profitable. However, because it was unable to compete with low priced imports, entity XYZ into losses. Has at 31st March 2007, entity XYZ's equity was 1,000 rupees. During the second quarter of financial year ended 31st March 2007, the management restructured entity's operations. That restructuring helped reduce losses for the third and fourth quarter of quarter 2 Indian rupee 400 and 380 rupees respectively. During the year ended 31st March 2007, entity XYZ reported a loss of 4,000 rupees. In January 2007, the local plastic industry and labor union lobbied government to reinstate tariffs on plastic. On 15th March 2007, the government announced that it would reintroduce limited plastic import tariffs at 10% in 2008. However, it emphasized that those tariffs would not be as protective as the tariffs enacted by the previous government. In its latest economic forecast, the government predicts a stable currency exchange rate in the short term with a gradual weakening of the jurisdiction's currency in the long term. In the longer term, management of the entity XYZ undertook a going concern assessment at 31st March 2007. Management projects forecast the imposition of a 10% tariff on the import of plastic products would at current exchange rates result in entity XYZ returning to profitability. How should the management of the entity XYZ disclose the information about the going concern assessment in entity XYZ's 31st March 2007 annual financial statements? Okay, here what is the requirement here? How should the management of entity XYZ disclose the information about the going concern assessment in entity XYZ at 31st March 2007 annual financial statements? This is the requirement. But new government abolished all import tariffs, so that's why price is decreases. So lot of suppliers import lot of goods, so that's why heavy competition has happened. Through heavy competition, XYZ can't beat this competition, so that's why before abolishing of all import tariffs by government, it is profitable, but now it is goes to losses, so that's why it affected companies going concern. So now how should the management of XYZ disclose above information in 31st March 2007 annual financial statement? This is the requirement. First, we know every general feature of while preparing of annual financial statements for every entity going concern. If going concern is there or not, management should assess entity going concern is affected or not. Management should consider all factors, not limited to 12 months. Not limited to 12 months after the ending of reporting period. Consideration of all factors and events, not limited to 12 months after the reporting period. So we know another point, we know going concern. Nothing but going concern means the management not intend to liquidate the entity in future. Okay, that is the going concern point of view. Now next, management should give the explanation why should not prepare the financial statements on going concern basis, because you should disclose further information to enable the users to make the decision, to make informed decision. Okay, that is one point. Next, here management here based on condition, entity XYZ need to present financial statement on going concern basis or not going concern basis, because here government reinstate import tariffs at least 10%. So that way, so after implementing of tariffs, 10% tariffs the company goes to profitable. Before company discloses losses, so now going to profit. So it is the one of the indicator to continue as a going concern to the entity. So based on this information, the company XYZ should prepare the financial statements on going concern basis. Okay, right. This is Indian Accounting Standard 1, that is presentation of financial statements. Okay. Yeah, next I am going to another standard, another NDS, that is NDS 34, Interim Financial Reporting. The title of NDS 34, Interim Financial Reporting. The title of NDS 34, Interim Financial Reporting. Okay. Yeah. The problem is here, Narayan Limited provides you the following information and ask you calculate tax expense for each quarter, assuming that there is no difference between the estimated taxable income and the estimated accounting income, nothing but carrying amount. No, there is no difference between carrying amount under accounting system and taxable base under income tax. Okay, there is no difference. Next, estimated gross annual income. Estimated gross annual income, how much? 33 lakhs. Inclusive of estimated capital gains of 8 lakhs. So, in those 33 lakhs, 8 lakhs, extent of 8 lakhs income is related to capital gains income. And remaining 25 lakhs, that is other income. Okay. Next, here, estimated income of quarter 1 is 7 lakhs. So, for first quarter, how much estimated income? 7 lakhs. For second quarter, 8 lakhs. For third quarter, 12 lakhs. In those 12 lakhs, 8 lakhs capital gains related income is included. So, in third quarter, 8 lakhs is related to capital gains income and 4 lakhs related to other income. Okay. Right. In fourth quarter, the amount is 6 lakhs. So, here given quarter-wise incomes given, and next further here given on capital gains the percentage 12% is, and on other incomes first 5 lakhs up to 5 lakhs, for extent of 5 lakhs 30%, for up to 5 lakhs 30% is the tax rate. Balance income after 5 lakhs the balance income is 40%. Not a slab, this is not a slab, this is slab, but here for 5 lakhs 40%, remaining balance for 5 lakhs, for first 5 lakhs 30%, for balance 40%. Okay, here asking what is the requirement. We need to give tax expense for each quarter, that is the requirement, but here given different rates of tax given. So as per NDS 34, we need to find out first of all weighted average income tax rate. That weighted average income tax rate need to be applied for each quarter for finding of tax expense as per NDS 34. Okay. Now here for total 33 lakhs given. So in 33 lakhs 8 lakhs 33 lakhs 8 lakh on 8 lakhs 12% is capital gains tax. So we don't consider 8 lakhs amount for finding of weighted average income tax rate. So we need to deduct from 33 lakhs. So now we have only 25 lakhs. In those 25 lakhs for first 5 lakhs the percentage is 30%. So 1,50,000 that is annual income tax for 5 lakhs. Next, remaining balance 20 lakhs. So percentage here given 40%. So how much? That is 8 lakhs. So 9,50,000 by 25 lakhs. That is weighted average income tax rate. 9,50,000 by 25 lakhs. The percentage here 38%. That is 38% is the weighted average income tax rate. This weighted average income tax rate need to be applied for first quarter. Here given 7 lakhs. So on 7 lakhs 38%, that is 2,66,000 is the tax expense for first quarter. Next on 8 lakhs 38%, that is for second quarter 3,04,000, that is tax expense. For third quarter total 12 lakhs. So on 8 lakhs 12% is the capital gains tax. So 96,000 plus remaining 4 lakhs, how much? 40%. Sorry, remaining 4 lakhs 38%, that is weighted average income tax rate. So on 4 lakhs 38%, that is 1,52,000 plus 96,000, how much? 2,48,000. That is for third quarter. Fourth quarter given here 6 lakhs, that is the estimated income, and 6 lakh 38% is the tax expense, so 2,28,000. Here the requirement is we need to give the requirement tax expense for each quarter. So for first quarter 2,66,000, second quarter 3,04,000, third quarter 2,48,000, fourth quarter 2,28,000. This is the tax expense. Okay. Yeah. Total how much? Total, 2,66,000, that is first year tax expense. Next second year 3,04,000, third year 2,48,000, fourth year 2,28,000. Total 10,46,000 tax. Okay, total 10,46,000. This is Ind AS 34, that is interim financial reporting. Okay. Next I am going to another Ind AS, that is Ind AS 7. Ind AS 7, that is statement of cash flows. The title of Ind AS 7, the statement of cash flows. Statement of cash flows. Okay. The problem is here, using the following data of ABC Limited to construct a statement of cash flows using the direct and indirect methods. Okay. Here next, the year 2001 is a opening cash flow statement. Next 2002, that is closing balance. So the accounting the cash flows for related to 2001 opening and closing balances given here. Cash in opening, cash in 2001 14,000, in 2002 4,000, accounts receivable in 2001 32,500, that is opening balance, closing 25,000, prepaid insurance, that opening 7,000, closing 5,000, inventory 34,000, closing 37,000, fixed assets opening 2,70,000, closing 3,16,000, accumulated depreciation. Okay, here accumulated depreciation separately maintained, so 30,000, that is opening, 45,000, that is closing. Next, total assets 3,42,000 in 2002, 2001 3,27,500. Okay, here these are details. Next, accounts payable opening 16,000, closing 18,000, wages payable opening 7,000, closing 4,000, debentures 1,60,000 opening, closing 1,73,000, equity shares opening 84,000, closing 88,000, retained earnings opening 60,500, closing 59,000, total 3,42,000 in 2002 and 2001 3,27,500. Okay, right. Further information given related to 2002, total sales happened in 2002 2 lakhs, and cost of goods sold 1,23,000, depreciation 15,000, insurance expense 11,000, wages 50,000, net profit 1 lakh. That is profit and loss account related information given related to 2002. Next, during the financial year 2002, company ABC Limited declared and paid dividends of 2,500. And during the financial year 2002, in this year only paid dividend extent of 2,500 by ABC Limited. Okay, during 2002, ABC Limited paid 46,000 in cash for acquisition of fixed assets. Okay, next, the accounts payable was used only for inventory. No debt was retired during 2002. This is the information. Based on this information, we need to present under direct method and indirect method cash flow statement. That is the requirement. Okay, now we know direct method and indirect method. Under direct method, we considered there are three elements: cash flows from operating activities, and cash flows from investing activities, and another one is cash flows from financing activity. There are three elements is there under direct method and indirect method. But while calculation in on direct method and indirect method, cash flows from operating activities, that is different. In direct method, we considered only receipts. What are the receipts in cash and what are the payment in cash? Only receipts and payments under operating activities. But in indirect method, through we need to first consider net profit, and then after add up to net profit, non-cash expenditure, and any losses. We need to add up to profit and loss account while finding operating cash flows from operating activities. Another one is a change in working capital is there. Okay, changes in working capital, that one also considered. Next, both as remaining cash flows from investing activities and cash flows from financing activities in under direct method, and both and indirect method, both are same, no changes there. Okay, based on this information, we need to present under direct and indirect method cash flows. Now I am proceeding here. First, under direct method, cash flows from operating activities. Okay, cash flows from operating activities here. What are the receipts from or debtors? Receipt from debtors. Here total sales given 2 lakhs. Okay, accounts receivable balance here, opening balance, 32,500 opening, closing 25,000. So this year sales done how much? 2 lakhs. So total balance need to be receivable 32,500 plus 2 lakhs, total 2,32,500. So closing balance 25,000 only in debtors balance. So remaining balance, that is cash collected from trade receivables. So how much? So 25,000 need to be total 2,07,500 collected from debtors. So 2,07,500 debtors. So here under cash flows from operating activities. So receipts from debtors, how much? Receipts from debtors 2,07,500. Okay, this is 2,07,500, and any payment is done. So here accounts payables here, opening balance 16,000, closing balance 18,000 is there. Here total cost of goods sold 1,23,000. We know cost of goods sold, that is opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock is equal to cost of goods sold. This is the formula for finding purchases. Here opening stock, we have opening stock how much? 34,000 opening stock, but we don't know purchases. Next closing stock here 37,000, but we have cost of goods sold, so how much? 1,23,000. So due to calculation purchases here, 1,23,000. So 1,23,000 plus 37,000 minus 34,000. So purchases 1,26,000. So from we purchases under credit from creditors, how much? 1,26,000. So total amount need to be payable to the accounts payable 16,000 plus 1,26,000. Total 1,42,000. But here closing balance only trade payables only 18,000. So remaining balance we paid. How much we paid? So remaining 1,24,000 paid out to trade payables. So 1,24,000. Next 1,24,000. Okay. Next here wages payable. Total wages incurred in 2002 50,000. So opening balance how much? Yeah, 7,000 opening balance, but closing balance 4,000 only there. So now this year how much wages incurred? 50,000. So total amount the liability of wages 57,000, but we have only 4,000 closing balance. So remaining balance how much we paid out? 57,000 minus 4,000, 53,000 paid out. 53,000. So that is wages payable 53,000. Next insurance expense. Here this year insurance expense 11,000. Actually we paid advance prepaid how much? 7,000. We already paid 7,000. This year insurance expense how much? 11,000. Closing balance here only that is an asset prepaid 5,000. So how much paid? 11,000 plus 5,000 minus 7,000, so 9,000 paid out regarding insurance expense. Next, yeah, this is next. These are all expenses. Now we need to deduct 2,07,500 minus 1,24,000, that is trade payment to trade payables, 53,000 payable to employees, and 9,000 paid to insurance company. So 21,500, that is cash flows from operating activities. Next, cash flows from investing activities. So here 46,000 incurred for acquiring of fixed assets. 46,000 cash incurred for acquisition of new fixed assets. That is only transaction relay here. So 46,000, that is outflow. This is cash flows from investing activities. Next, cash flows from financing activities. Okay, here debentures is there. So opening of 1,60,000, but closing 1,73,000. So further 13,000, further 13,000 proceeds received from debentures. So how much? 13,000, that is proceeds from debentures. Next, equity. 84,000 is the opening balance, but now 88,000. So 4,000 received through equity. That is proceeds. Next, yeah. Yeah, next, retained earnings here 60,500, that is opening balance, closing 59,000. So for 60,500 here profit is there, 1,000 is there. We need to add up to 60,500. So 61,500. In those 61,500, dividend is paid. Dividend paid how much? 2,500. 2,500. So we need to deduct from 61,500. So remaining balance 59,000. So here outflow, how much? That is dividend. So dividend that is paid 2,500, that is paid out. So from financing activities, how much? 13,000 from debentures, 4,000 from equity, and 2,500 paid. So here 14,500, that is received from cash flows from financing activities. Now total amount 21,500, that is a positive amount, but 46,000, that is a negative amount. We need to deduct again negative balance is there now up to cash flows from investing activities 24,500. Next, 14,500, that is a positive balance. So 14,500. So 10,000, that is net decrease in cash and cash equivalents, that is 10,000. Closing balance here 4,000 is there. Opening balance, cash opening balance 14,000. So we need to add up 14,000. So 4,000 is the closing balance. Okay, this is under direct method. Okay, next I am going to another method, that is indirect method. Here now what is the cash flow? What is the cash flows from operating activities? Here we need to go through backward calculation. That is we consider first net profit. Here net profit how much? 1,000. Next, non-cash expenditure. Here depreciation, accumulated depreciation opening 30,000, accumulated depreciation in closing year 45,000. So 15,000 increases. So we need to add up 15,000. Total 16,000. Now next we need to add up 16,000. This is cash flows before changing before consideration of change in working capital. Now change in working capital. Working capital, we know working capital current difference of current assets and current liabilities. Here current assets, accounts receivable, opening balance 32,500, but closing 25,000. So here 7,500 decreases. So 7,500 decreases. So here we need to add up 7,500. We know relationship. In case current assets in case decreases, we need to we need to increase the balance of cash flows before working capital. Okay, in case current liabilities. So when in any element in current liability decreases, we need to deduct current liability. When current liability increases, then we need to add current liability. That is directly proportional in case of current liabilities, but in case of current assets, that is indirectly proportional. For thoroughly understanding to solve the problem. Okay, right. 32,500 minus 25,000, that is 7,500. Next, prepaid insurance, that is asset 7,000. So opening balance 7,000, closing 5,000. So 2,000 need to add. Next, inventory 34,000 opening, but closing 37,000. So 3,000 increases. So we need to deduct 3,000. Next, yeah, you're only current assets. Next, current liabilities. Here, current liabilities, accounts payable 16,000. So closing balance 18,000. So 2,000 increases. So 2,000 add. Next, wages payable 7,000 opening, closing 4,000. So wages current liability decreases. So decrease how much? 3,000. Next, those are all only current liabilities only. So now what is the balance? 7,500 plus 2,000 minus 3,000 plus 2,000 minus 3,000. So 5,500. Next, cash flows before change in working capital, that is 16,000. Total how much? 21,500. 21,500. That is cash flows from operating activities. Next, investment activities as it is on a direct method. Here 46,000, that is negative balance. Next, financing activities 14,000, 14,500. 14,500. Okay. Now the 21,500 negative balance 46,000. Okay. Next, positive figure 14,500. 10,000 net decrease in cash and cash equivalents. Opening balance 14,000. So 14,000. So closing balance 4,000. So under direct method and indirect method, both are we have 4,000, 4,000. Okay. This is India's 7 statement of cash flows. Next, I am going to another India's, that is India's 115. The title of India's 115, revenue from contracts with customer. The title of India's 115, revenue from contracts with customers. That is the title of India's 115. Okay. The problem is here, an entity regularly sells products X, Y and Z individually, thereby establishing the following standalone selling prices. Okay. First, standalone selling price for product X 50,000 and for product Y 25,000, for product Z 45,000. Total amount 1,20,000. Okay. Next, in addition, the entity regularly sells products Y and Z together for 50,000. Okay. First, individually X product can sold individually, Y also sold and Z also sold. But in addition, both Y and Z together sell at for 50,000 rupees. Okay. Yeah. Next, case A. Here first case given. What is the case here? Allocating a discount to one or more performance obligations. Okay. Next, the entity enters into a contract with a customer to sell products X, Y and Z in exchange for 1 lakh. The entity enters into a contract with a customer to sell products X, Y and Z in exchange for 1 lakh. Actually, the selling price of X 50,000. The selling price of Y 25,000. The selling price of Z, standalone selling price of X, Y and Z 45,000. Total 1,20,000. Actually, the company need to collect 1,20,000 from the customer, but the company entered with the customer only for 1 lakh only. For 1 lakh, the company gives product X, product Y, product Z. So how much discount here? 20,000. So here one Dilma is there. For 20,000, for 20,000 is related to X product or Y product or Z product. For which product, which, how much amount? It is the first dilemma. Next, the entity will satisfy the performance obligations for each of the products at different points in time. Or product Y and Z at same point of time. Okay, performance obligation can be satisfied through over a period of time or point of time. We know that point. And at inception of the contract, we need to find out how many performance obligations. That also we know. That is in regarding performance obligations. And yeah, discount or else a transaction price we need to allocate based on standalone selling prices. When we have observable evidence is there. That point also we know. Next, here asking, determine the allocation of transaction price to products Y and Z. Here asking what is the first requirement in case A. What is the first requirement? Determine the allocation of transaction price to products Y and Z. Okay. Next, case B is there. Residual approach is appropriate. Okay. Residual approach we know. First, what products have standalone selling price? The amount is allocated to first based on standalone selling price, and remaining balance, that is residual basis, that is related to residual product. Okay. Next, here the entity enters into a contract with a customer to sell products X, Y and Z as described in case A. Case A, how much? 1 lakh. The company entered with the customer 1 lakh. Same in case B also. But the contract also includes a promise to transfer product alpha. Okay, additional one product also sale additional. The product name is alpha. Remaining before product, what are the products X, product Y, product Z, but additional product here, product alpha. Next, total consideration in the contract is 1,30,000. 1,30,000. Next, that the standalone selling price for product alpha is highly variable, because highly variable means so frequently changes the selling price of product alpha. Okay, highly variable because the entity sells product alpha to different customers for a broad range of amounts, 15,000 to 45,000. In between 15,000 to 45,000, the product standalone selling price depends. Next, C, case C, residual approach is inappropriate. The same facts as in case B apply to case C, except the transaction price is 1,05,000 instead of 1,30,000. In case B, given the transaction price 1,30,000, but in case C, instead of 1,30,000, considered 1,05,000. So now the requirement is here. What is the requirement? Determine the allocation of transaction price to product Y and Z. Okay. Now we know standalone selling prices for X how much. In case X individually sale, what is the standalone selling price of X? 50,000. In case Y, 25,000. In case Z, 45,000. So total 1,20,000. But in first case, he entered with company entered with a customer 1 lakh. So 20,000 discount. This 20,000 is related to X or Y or Z, or how you deal. This is the first question we need to arise ourselves. Okay, right. In case Y and Z together will sell, what is the standard selling price of for those together of Y and Z? That is 50,000. So 1,50,000 is related to X, 50,000 related to Y and Z. So here discount exclusively related to Y and Z only, not X. Okay, that is okay. Next, here Y and Z together sell at different points of time. So in those cases, 50,000, the 50,000 amount in those 1 lakh, 50,000 amount transaction price, that is how you allocate. So based on related standalone selling prices. Here 25,000 standalone selling price Y and 45,000 related to Z. So here 50,000 need to be segregated, allocated. Total 70,000, 25,000 plus 45,000, total 70,000. So 25,000, 25,000, 25,000 by 70,000 into 50,000. So 17,857. That is related to Y. Next, remaining balance from 50,000. How much? 32,140. That is 50,000 into 45,000, 70,000 we have. So total 50,000. This is okay. Next, additional company sale alpha. So total amount 1,30,000. So here second case residual approach is appropriate, but in third case residual approach inappropriate. In third case the contract price amount 1,05,000. So second case 1,30,000. So in those 1,30,000 or 50,000 related to because why directly observable. The method it is suitable here, directly observable with X. With product X 50,000, product Y and Z of 50,000, remaining 30,000 is related to alpha. Okay. Second case, discount related to only product Y and Z together. That is the second case. In third case, 1,05,000. In those 1,05,000, 50,000 is related to second case 30,000. So the alpha, the product ranges 15,000 to 45,000. So 30,000 is have in between 15,000 to 45,000 range. So it is appropriate. Next, third case 1,05,000, 50,000 related to product X. Again 50,000 is related to product Y and Z together. Remaining 5,000 is there only. So it is standalone selling price for alpha, but it is not within the range of 15,000 to 45,000. So we need to take another suitable method for finding alpha product. Okay, this is Ind AS 115 revenue from contracts with customers. Okay, right. Now I am going to another Ind AS, that is Ind AS 8. Okay, accounting policies, changes in accounting estimates and errors. The title of Ind AS 8, accounting policies, changes in accounting estimates and errors. Okay, this is the title. Next, here the problem is here the issue. What is the issue here? While preparing interim financial statements for the half year ended 30th September 2001, an entity notes that there has been an under accrual of certain expenses in the interim financial statements for the first quarter ended 30th June 2001. Okay. Next, the amount of under accrual is assessed to be material in the context of interim financial statements. However, it is expected that the amount would be immaterial in the context of annual financial statements. The management is of the view that there is no need to correct an error in the interim financial statements, considering that the amount is expected to be immaterial from the point of view of the annual financial statements. Whether the management's view is acceptable, this is the requirement from this issue. Whether the management view is acceptable. Okay, here the company prepared interim financial statements. Interim financial statements are for the second quarter year end, for the quarter ending 30th September. In first quarter 30th June 2001, under accrual means suppose actually 5,000 accrual expenses is there, but only 3,000 is recorded. 3,000 only recorded. Okay, 2,000 is not recorded. So under accrual, that is under accrual expenses. Okay, but management view it is material in context of interim financial statement, but it is immaterial in context of annual financial statements. So we so management it is not considered while preparing, while not revising, while not recorrecting interim financial statements. That is a management view. Whether it is acceptable or not, this is the requirement from our side. We need to give solution here under India's 34 interim financial reporting. Okay, whether you not considering of material or immaterial items, that is not preparing well under under India's under India's. Okay, right. Yeah, interim. So it is material from context of interim period data. So that's why the management need to be corrected error. Don't project annual figure. Don't project the annual figures. So because users intend to take a decision on interim period related data, so that's why management need to be they correct the interim financial statements. Okay, this is India's 8 accounting policies, changes in accounting estimates and errors. Next I am going to other India's, that is India's 10. The title of India's 10, events after the reporting period. Events after the reporting period. Okay, the title of India's 10, events after the reporting period. Yeah, the problem is here, while preparing its financial statements for the year ended 31st March 2001, XYZ Limited made a general provision for bad debts at 5% of its debtors. Okay, in the last week of February 2001, a debtor for 2 lakhs had suffered heavy loss due to an earthquake. The loss was not covered by any insurance policy. Considering the event of earthquake, XYZ Limited made a provision of 50% of the amount receivable from that debtor apart from the general provision of 5% on remaining debtors. In April 2001, the debtor became bankrupt. Can XYZ Limited provide for the full loss arising out of insolvency of the debtor in the financial statements for the year ended 31st March 2001? Here, what is the requirement? Here we need to give the suggestion. Can XYZ Limited provide for the full loss arising out of insolvency of the debtor in the financial statements for the year ended 31st March 2001? Next, would the answer be different if earthquake had taken place after 31st March 2001 and therefore XYZ Limited did not make any specific provision in context that debtor and made only general provision of provision for bad debts at 5% on total debtors? This is the second requirement. Okay, what is the first requirement? We know under India's 10 events after the reporting period, there are events, adjusting events and non-adjusting events. What are the adjusting events? When condition existing at the balance sheet date, even though event occurred after the end of the reporting period but before approval of financial statements by board. Okay, when condition does not exist at the balance sheet date but events occurred after the reporting period but before financial statements approved by shareholders. Okay, here earthquake happened in February month. So bankrupt happened after the reporting period. Okay, here condition existing at the at the end of the reporting period. So that's why provision is required. But a management insurance policy not covered with the data, and total amount not able to collect from data. So that's why full provision provided by management. This is correct, no problem. Based on this NDAs, management can provide provision for loss of total loss. Yes, second requirement here asked. Okay, suppose if not earthquake before at the end of the reporting period, or else before 31st March 2001, but it happened after the 31st March 2001. So now no condition existing at the end of the reporting period, and so here not required providing of provision for total loss of data. Okay, here general provision required to provide, that is 5% on total data. Okay. So this is India's 10 accounting policies, changes in accounting estimates and errors. That is India's 8, but India's 10 events after the reporting period. Okay, I missed out one point. In case non-adjusting event, so second requirement, that is not non-adjusting event, but in case material, the company need to be presented, and the financial effect in future also need to be presented in case material. In case not material, so not required, but here from this question it is material, so it is company need to present, need to disclose in financial statements in under notes to accounts, and financial effect also. Okay, right. Next I am going to another India's, that is India's 113. The title of India's 113, fair value measurement. What is the title of India's 113? Fair value measurement. Okay, right. Here the problem is here ABC Limited acquired 5% equity shares of XYZ Limited for 10 crore in the year 2001-2002. Okay, right. The company is in process of preparing the financial statements for the year 2002-2003 and is assessing the fair value at subsequent measurement of the investment made in XYZ Limited. Based on the observable input, the ABC Limited identified a similar nature of transaction in which PQR Limited acquired 20% equity shares in XYZ Limited for 60 crore. The price of such enterprise value for EBITDA, earnings before interest and tax, depreciation and amortization, which was 8. Okay. For the current year, the EBITDA of XYZ Limited is 40 crore. At the time of acquisition, the valuation was determined after considering 5% of liquidity discount and 5% of non-controlling stake discount. Now, what will be the fair value of ABC Limited's investment in XYZ Limited as on the balance sheet date? Okay, here what is the requirement here? What will be the fair value of ABC Limited's investment in XYZ Limited as on balance sheet date? This is the requirement. Okay, here, yeah, ABC Limited invested in XYZ Limited how much? 5% equity shares of XYZ Limited at 10 crores. Okay, here first, based on observable input, we have fair value measurement in 3 ways. In first, level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 1, quoted market price. Level 2, observable input. Level 3, based on market value approach and income approach. Okay, these are levels. Next, here other similar nature of PQR Limited considered. Here enterprise value for enterprise value upon EBITDA 8 is given. So EBITDA value is given 40. How much here given? 40 crore. So based on enterprise value, nothing but that is company value. So based on this we find out how much. 320 crore. 320 crore is the enterprise value. Okay. In those 3,20,000, 5% 5% related to ABC Limited. So but this 16 crore, after 16 crore need to be deducted. One is 5% discount related to liquidity and another 5% non-controlling discount. So total 10% need to be deducted. So total how much? 14.4. This is the requirement of fair value of ABC Limited's investment in XYZ Limited as an balance sheet data. This is a 14.4 crore. Okay, right. This is Ind AS 113. Okay. Next time I am going to another standard, another Ind AS, that is Ind AS 20. The title of Ind AS 20, accounting for government grants and disclosure of government assistance. The title of Ind AS 20, accounting for government grants and disclosure of government assistance. That is the title of Ind AS 20. Okay, the issue here, what is the issue? Here issue, ABC Limited has received the following grants from Government of Delhi for its newly started pharmaceutical business. First, 20 lakhs received for immediate startup business without any condition. Second, 50 lakhs received for research and development of drugs required for the treatment of cardiovascular diseases with following conditions. First condition, the drugs should be available to the public at 20% cheaper from current market price. And second condition, the drugs should be in accordance with quality prescribed by World Health Organization. That is the second condition. Next, third case, 2 acres of land, that is fair value 10 lakhs received for set up plant. Okay, that is third case. Second, fourth case, 2 lakhs received for purchase of machinery 10 lakhs. Useful life of machinery is 5 years. Depreciation on this machinery is to be charged on straight line basis. These are all 4 cases, and from ABC Limited. Okay, from ABC Limited 4 cases is given here. So now for each case we need to give a suggestion and advice to the ABC Limited. What is the first give first advice to the ABC Limited? 20 lakhs received for immediate startup business without any condition. So we need to give the suggestion. Okay, you can credited your profit and loss account this year only, whenever, as and when received, but without no condition. So here no further condition is there. So now government grant 20 lakhs considered as an income this year only. That is first suggestion need to give to ABC Limited. And second condition, here there are 2 conditions is there. First, the product, the drug is available to 20% cheaper to current market price. That is first condition. Second condition, the drug should be in accordance with quality prescribed by World Health Organization. So as and when satisfied those conditions, then only you need to consider as an income that 50 lakhs related to government grant. Now no, don't consider as a the income. That is second suggestion to ABC Limited. Third, 2 acres of land for setting up of a plant, but the 2 acres of land is a fair value. We know under Ind AS 20, accounting for government grants and disclosure of government assistance, whether you record nominal value or fair value. Okay, either one you follow, but your fair value given 10 lakhs, you can record land. You can record land value 10 lakhs and government value also record for 10 lakhs. In case value is not there, you can record nominal value. Okay. Or else you can that is okay. That is third. That is the suggestion. Next, fourth case. Here 2 lakhs received for purchase of machinery. Cost of 10 lakhs. Okay, useful life of machinery is 5 years. So 2 lakhs that is related to monetary asset. So this 2 lakhs reduced from machinery. 2 lakhs government grant reduced from machinery, and 8 lakhs is left out in machinery. So depreciation charge on 8 lakhs for every year. This is the suggestion. Okay. This is Ind AS 20 disclosure of accounting for government grants and disclosure of government assistance. Next I am going to another standard, that is Ind AS 102, that is share based payments. Okay, the title of Ind AS 102, share based payments. Okay, here the issue is Tata Industries issued share based option to one of its key management personnel, which can be exercised either in cash or equity, and it has following features. Okay, option 1, number of cash settled shares 74,000, the service condition 3 years. Second, option 2, number of equity settled shares. First, option 1, number of cash settled shares. Second one, number of equity settled shares. So 90,000. Conditions: service 3 years, restriction to sell 2 years, restriction to sell 2 years. Okay, fair values, here given fair values, equity price with a restriction of sale for 2 years 115 rupees, that is a fair value, and fair value on grant date is given 135, fair value for 2000 138, for 2001 140 rupees, and for 2002 147. So here asking, the requirement is pass the journal entries. Here asking requirement is pass the journal entries. Okay, here now first, before we know cash settled share based payments, equity settled share based payments. Okay, equity share equity settled share based payments, only fair value on grant date, only fair value on grant data, that one also considered. After no subsequent recognition at fair value is not required in case of equity settled share based payment transactions, but in case of cash settled share based payment transactions, only it is need to be valued at the end of the reporting period. Okay, that is the difference between share based equity settled share based payments, cash settled share based payments. Another thing we know, in case equity settled share based payment transactions, we have share based payment reserve account, and in case of cash settled share based payment transactions, we have share based liability, share based payment liability. Okay, that is second one. Okay, now here how to proceed from this issue. First, we need to give total. Here this is both are alternative, both two cash or equity settled based share based payment transactions, so both are included. This is a compound instrument. We have treat compound instrument in we know in under Ind AS 32 compound financial instruments. We need to split equity component and liability component, but here same thing, here also we need to split equity component and liability. Okay, first here we need to find out here fair value of share with restrictive clause. Here given 115 rupees for 90,000 number of equity settled says 90,000. So 90,000 into 115. So 103 lakhs 50,000. In those 103 lakh 50,000, the liability component is there. Cash settled share based payment transactions. How much? 74,000 number of cash settled says for 74,000 fair value on grant date. How much? 135 rupees. Okay, 135 into cash settled share based 74,000. Total 99 lakhs 90,000. Okay, those 99 lakh 90,000 need to be deduct from 103 lakh 50,000. So remaining balance how much? 103 lakh 50,000. So 3 lakh 60,000. This is the equity component. 3 lakh 60,000. This is the equity component. 99 lakh 90,000. That is fair value under cash settled based payment. Now 31st December 2000. We need to pass the journal entry. So pass the journal entry. Employee benefit expense, how much amount need to be recognized? Here 3,60,000, that is equity payment. So for 3 years 1,20,000 each, for every year 1,20,000. Next 99 lakhs 90,000 for total 3 years. But end of the here 31st December 2000 the fair value is 138. So 74,000 138. 1 or 2 lakhs 12,000 for 3 years. So 34 lakhs 4,000. 34 lakh 4,000 plus 1 lakh 20,000. So 35 lakh 24,000 need to be charged as employee benefit expenses for first year. 35 lakhs 24,000. Next year 1 lakh 20,000, there is no changes. Next, but at the end of year 2001 140 rupees is there. So 140 into 74,000. So 103 lakh 60,000. We have only second year, only 2 years is there. So for 2 years 51 lakhs 80,000. 51 lakh 80,000. Already we recognized employee benefit expenses. How much? Yeah, already 34 lakhs 40,000. So 34 lakh 4,000. So 17 lakhs 76,000. Yeah, 74,000 into 140 rupees. 103 lakh 60,000. The 103 lakh 60,000. Actually, how much amount need to be charged as employee benefit expenses for 2 years? So this is related to 3 years. So for extent of 2 years, how much? 69 lakhs 66.67. So already for better presentation, 69 lakhs 66,000. 69 lakh 6,667 need to be considered. Already we considered share based payment liability. How much? 34 lakh 4,000. We need to deduct 34 lakh 4,000. So 35 lakhs 2,667. This is for second year. Okay, share based payment liability. Second year we have 1 lakh 3,60,000 by 1,20,000 share based payment reserve. So share based payment reserve how much? 1,20,000. Share based payment liability 35 lakhs 2,000 667. Total 36 lakh 22,667. That is employee benefit expenses. 36 lakhs 22,667. That is second year employee benefit expenses. First year we have 35 lakhs 24,000. Second year 36 lakh 22,667. Next, third year. Here at the end of year 2002, share based payment reserve 1 lakh 2,000 74,000 into 147. Total uh, 108 lakh 78,000. So already we charged employee benefit expenses, we have share based payment liability 69 lakhs, 69 lakhs 667. So now 39 lakhs 71,333. This is the share based payment liability for third year. Okay. 1,20,000, that is a share based payment reserve. Now total amount of 40,91,333, that is employee benefit expenses charged to profit and loss. 40,91,333. Okay. Now share based payment reserve, that is goes to equity in other comprehensive income. Here share based payment liability, how much? 1,08,000, 108 lakh 78,000. So 108 lakh 78,000 in case settled with cash. So 108 lakh 78,000 share based payment liability 108 lakh 78,000 to cash at bank account 108 lakh 78,000. In case equity settled, share based payment liability 108 lakh 78,000 to equity share capital 108 lakh 78,000 equity. So this is India's 102 share based payment. Okay, right. Next I am going to another India's, that is India's 101. Okay, the title of India's 101, first time adoption of India's. The title of India's 101, first time adoption of India's. Okay, the issue is here. On April 1, 2001, Sigma Limited issued 30,000 6% convertible debentures of face value of 100 rupees per debenture at par. Okay, 30,000 into 100, so 30 lakhs. The debentures are redeemable at a premium of 10% on 31st March 2005. So total how many years? 5 years. The redemption period 5 years. 2001, 2002, 2003, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005. 4 years only, not 5 years. Or this may be converted into ordinary shares at the option of holder. At the option of holder, not at the option of company. Here at the option of holder. The interest rate for equivalent debentures without conversion rights would have been 10%. The date of transition to India is April 2003. Suggest how should Sigma Limited account for this compound financial instrument on the date of transition. Here asking what is the requirement. Suggest, we need to give suggestion to Sigma Limited account this compound financial instrument on the date of transition. That is the suggestion need to give. That is the suggestion. Next, the present value of 1 rupee receivable at the end of each year based on discount rates of 6% and 10% can be taken as for first year. Here given end of the year 1 for 6% and 10% up to for 4 years. For first year 0.94 for 6% and for 10% 0.91, for second year 0.89 for 6%, 0.83 for second year, and for third year at 6% 0.84 for 10% at third year, 0.75 for fourth year at 6%, 0.79 for 10% at fourth year, 0.68. These are all present value factors. Okay, here this is the question. Now we need to give suggestion and how to account this issue regarding compound financial instrument under India's 101. Okay, we know under India's 101 on date of transition the balance outstanding balance is there. If outstanding balance is there, then need to split out that compound financial instrument equity and debt. If debt is no outstanding on date of transition, so no need to split equity no need to split about equity and data. Okay, liability component. But in such case, what will happen under India's 101 retrospective application? So, retrospective application is required, and any balance. So, uh, in those two options, first option not in two ways separated. First option, the balance adjusted with retained earnings, and second one first one retained earnings and accumulated compounding interest on liability component. Second, recorded in original equity component. Okay, that we know. Next year, here on date of transition, the balance is outstanding. So now, based on for this issue, the company need to be split out equity component and liability components for how. Okay, here uh, 6 rupees. So 100 on 100 rupees, on 100 face value, 6 rupees is the interest. How many years it will come? 4 years. So we need to find out present value cash flows, present value annuity factor. So present value annuity factor for at 10%. Why should you take a 10% here? Because here why should you consider 10%? 10%. Why should not you consider 6%? There is the arising of one question. But because here debentures in market value without any conversion option, the rate is 10%. So that's why we need to take market interest rate. So here 10%, the present value annual factor for 10% at 4 years, 0.91 plus 0.83 plus 0.75 plus 0.68. So total 3.17. Now 6 rupees every year will come. So now present value annuity cash flows total 19.02. 19.02. Okay, total 100. In those 100, one minute. Next to principal also it is a redeemable, convertible, redeemable debenture. So here principal also redeem happened. Here 100 rupees face value, but premium 10%. So 110 rupees. 110 rupees at fourth year, 110 into 0.68. 110 into 0.68. How much? 74.8. So 74.8 plus 19.02. Total 93.82. And the total face value, total amount, suppose 100. So 100 minus, so 6.18. 6.18, this is the equity component. 93.8, that is the liability component. In terms of total, 6.18 into 30,000. So how much? 1,85,400. Because one each debenture is converted to one ordinary equity share. Here 30,000 debentures, so each debenture converted to one equity share. So 30,000 equity shares, for each equity share 6.18. So total 1,85,400, that is equity. Remaining total 30,000 into 100. So total 30 lakhs. In those 30 lakhs, equity component 1,85,400. So 28 lakh 14,600. This is liability component. Okay, this is liability component. In this way, here what is the requirement? Suggest how should Sigma Limited account for this compound financial instrument on the date of transition. We give suggestion in this way. On date of transition, outstanding balance is there. Outstanding is there. So that's why here need to split out equity and debt. So equity here 1,85,400 and debt 28,14,600. So this is India's 101 first time adoption of Ind AS. Okay, now uh, right. I hope it is useful you. Please subscribe my channel. Please like it, comment and share it. Please stay tuned on my channel. Thank you.